beyond Roswell. The 5 UFO crashes in New Mexico and UFO retrievals, July 1947. One reason for so much conflicting evidence arising from the famous Roswell incident of 1947, is due to the remarkable fact that there seems to have been more than one crash which occurred during the same time frame of July 1947 and in the same state of New Mexico. Could there be a link between the separate incidents of which the well-known Roswell crash was but one of them? According to researcher Chuck Wade, several craft were intentionally sabotaged during a 3-year period from 1945 to 1948, starting with a crash which occurred in August 1945, at San Antonio near the Trinity nuclear test site, where the world's first atomic bomb test had taken place just weeks earlier in the July. Putting that incident aside, along with another which took place in March 1948 in Hart Canyon, 9 miles north of Aztec, where a craft that was 100 feet in diameter was found completely intact with 16 dead occupants, we shall now concentrate on the 5 different UFO crashes which all went down in New Mexico between the 1st and the 4th of July, 1947. One UFO crash was on the plains of San Augustine, the night of July 1st or 2, 1947. This craft was 32 feet in diameter. Gerald Anderson and some family members claimed to have found the crashed object, in which they saw 4 alien bodies. One was still alive, another was wounded, and 2 were already dead. The discovery was verified by Barney Barnett, who also witnessed the same downed craft, and also archaeologist Dr. Herbert Dick, a Harvard grad student. A second crash site is believed to be southwest of Roswell, and happened possibly July 4, 1947. Frank Kaufman claims to have witnessed an oval-shaped crashed UFO, 25 feet long. This incident is still under investigation by MUFON and UFO researchers, Chuck Zukowski and Debbie Ziegelmeyer. A third crash was north of Roswell, which was reported to the military by civilians. This incident also occurred July 4, 1947. Walter Haut described the crashed object as 12 to 15 feet long, not quite as wide and 6 feet high, and more of an egg shape. Colonel Philip J. Corso stated in his book The Day After Roswell that he had command of the artifacts from this UFO crash whilst working in the Pentagon. Site 4 was found by Mac Brazel at the Corona debris field, located 75 miles northwest of Roswell, and 40 miles southeast of Corona on the Foster Ranch. The size of the craft is unknown, but it scattered truckloads of debris over the site. This is the crash site referred to as the Roswell incident, the one most researchers speak of, and the one which caught the imagination of the world. The 5th UFO crash was reported by Jim Ragsdale, and it also took place on the night of July 4, 1947. The site was 53 miles west of Roswell in the foothills of the Capitan Mountains. This craft was 20 feet in diameter. 4 dead extraterrestrials were found inside. Ragsdale departed the scene as the military arrived in numbers. Wade's research continues to shed more light on the events surrounding the infamous Roswell crash, and the interconnection between 7 possible crashes in a 3-year period, all of them in the same American state, does raise many questions. Many UFO researchers have focused their attention on the occurrence of one isolated incident located near Corona and about 75 miles northwest of Roswell, but it is clear from the information available that the remarkable events of 1947 lend themselves to a much wider perspective. Wade has a theory, which if proven correct would explain why so many separate incidents apparently occurred in one area, some of them on the same evening. The Los Alamos National Laboratories in New Mexico's capital Santa Fe was constructed during the 1940s as a facility to research and build atomic bombs. Chuck Wade's theory revolves around the 3 high-powered radar units which were built simultaneously to watch the skies over Los Alamos to protect them from invasion, and warn them of prying eyes. One radar site was at El Vado, near the Colorado border. The second radar was built in the south near the Continental Divide, close to the border of Arizona, and the third was a mobile unit stationed at Moriarty in central New Mexico. Wade suggests that it could have been the mobile radar unit that shot down all 7 of the UFOs that crashed and were retrieved in New Mexico between 1945 and 1948. Following the Arnold sightings in the June of '47, and the ensuing publicity which the incident received via the national media, Wade believes that orders came from the highest authority to relocate the mobile radar unit from Moriarty to the San Augustine Basin. From the bowl-like plains of San Augustine, the high-powered radar was employed to shoot down the next UFO that flew overhead. The tracking radar would have enabled the military to locate the crashed object within 12 hours of impact, and organize a retrieval team to clear the site as efficiently as possible. From there, the mobile unit could have been transported to somewhere northwest of Roswell, according to Wade. Author At Campbell located a brother and sister who claim that they saw 3 huge flashes of light, about 3 seconds apart, occurring on the night of July 4, 1947. Driving with their mother that night between Carlsbad and Vaughan, New Mexico, the siblings described the flashes as so brilliant that they lit up both the desert and the distant mountains. Chuck Wade put 2 and 2 together, and theorized that the flashes were caused by the high-powered radar's energy beam colliding with 3 electromagnetic vehicles from outer space, causing 3 separate crashes. One crashed near Corona, reported by Mac Brazel. The second landed north of Roswell, as described by Walter Hott and Philip Corso. The third incident was witnessed by Jim Ragsdale, and took place in the Capitan Mountains. Ragsdale claims he was sat in the back of his pickup truck with a friend, looking up at the stars, when they saw a tremendous flash as bright as a flame from the welder's arc occurring several miles to the north. The object was soon heading towards them, trailing flames and making an incredibly loud noise before passing through the trees, and finally colliding with the mountain just a short distance from his truck. Wade believes that the loud noise and the flames were caused by the disabled craft's electromagnetic systems shorting out. Not long after the collision, Ragsdale and his friend departed swiftly as military vehicles were fast approaching. Once again, the military's ability to locate the site so efficiently, already prepared with recovery equipment, has to be due to the tracking radar locking onto and following the craft. In a signed affidavit, James Ragsdale claimed that he personally witnessed a UFO crash into the north slope of the Capitan Mountains, southeast of Roswell near the Pine Lodge. Ragsdale also described the scattered debris on the mountainside as looking like tin foil, and would go back to its original shape when crumpled in your hand. He claimed that he and his friend had climbed down to get a good look at the crashed object, saying that, "When we looked into the craft, we saw 4 bodies of a type we had never seen before, and all were dead." He then detailed his experience with the recovered occupants of the crashed disc, which he described as all about 4 feet, or less tall, with strange-looking arms, legs and fingers. He continued, "They were dressed in a silver-type uniform and wearing a tight helmet of some type. This is a positive because I tried to remove one of the helmets, but was unable to do so. Their eyes were large, oval in shape, and did not resemble anything of a human nature. It is apparent from the overwhelming array of evidence that something very extraordinary took place in New Mexico during the first week of July in 1947, only a matter of days after the Kenneth Arnold incident in Washington. A varied selection of people recall handling some rare and peculiar material believed to be crash debris, and a host of other witnesses claim to have seen non-human entities either on site or having been recovered from the scene of the crash. It is of no surprise then, that if one or more of these events did actually take place, and the bodies found in the wreckage were indeed of an extraterrestrial origin, that the initial response of the authorities was one of panic, which ultimately led to the implementation of some form of cover-up.